Everybody told me this is the man who will dominate. The next decade will belong to Roger Federer. As it turned out, it was the next 2 decades that belonged to Roger Federer. Everybody knew that he was going to be an absolute superstar. Nobody quite knew who was going to knock him off the perch. And when the person who did come to rival him came along, it turned out to be a player of very different vintage. Federer had a wonderful, graceful way of playing. It was all about spectacular passing shots. Nadal was all about staying in the game. That's why he won the French Open all the time. That's why he was virtually invincible in Paris, because the rallies simply went on forever because you couldn't beat him. So I think everybody realised that there was a Federer-Nadal rivalry coming, probably from about 2006. But they didn't realise it had actually arrived until the 2008 Wimbledon final. And the 2008 Wimbledon final was, at the time, probably the greatest match ever played. And the final itself was an extraordinary occasion, because not only were both players at the top of their game, but it was the last Wimbledon before the roof came into play. So it was the last Wimbledon where weather played a major factor in the outcome of the tournament. So we started in early afternoon and we kept going all day, through tie breaks, through rain delays, and when it finished, you could barely see the ball anymore. I think that's why people realised that now we were in the middle of one of the greatest rivalries that any sport has ever known, because any pair of players that can produce something like that, well, from that point on, the whole of tennis was really defined for the next few years. They went into the tournament with relatively low seedings. Federer was seeded number 17, if you can imagine. Nadal was seeded number 9. But as the tournament wore on, it was quite clear that actually Federer and Nadal were back to pretty much their best.
I think Nadal entered that final probably as the favourite to win. Federer was 5 years older. Federer was 35 at this point, and he had played 2 5-set matches in the run-up to the final, and I think everyone expected that to count against him. I was surprised he dropped the first set. When he levelled at 1-1, I still thought Nadal is going to win this, and of course at 2-2, you had to think Nadal was going to win it. And of course Nadal led 3-1 in the 5th set. It was all over. How wrong we were. And if you look at that, the last 4 games of that 5th set, and particularly that 26-shot rally that they shared, and the crowd stood in wonderment. There was a minute-long standing ovation after that 26-shot rally. It was just wonderful.
Ridiculous! I will never, ever forget that rally.
The 2017 Australian Open final, in my very humble opinion, is probably the greatest tennis match ever.
Federer is at championship points. It's in! Victory for Federer!
All sports thrives on great rivalries. What was unusual about this rivalry is that it was so long lasting, and the players involved were nobody genuinely had a bad word to say about them.